All right, the video title is sarcastic. None of these things that we're going to talk about are dumb. Just hear me out, right? So, starting with bro splits, I think that bro splits, the way that they're presented, are stupid for most people. Unless you like doing them, then that's the way you can adhere to your training, then they're smart. But in terms of their spirit and the meaning and the purpose behind it, to give each body part their own day and their own emphasis, that's a very smart idea. It doesn't have to be taken to the extent where you have an arm day, chest day, leg day, so on. But if you follow something like an upper lower, you can have something like a back day where, shit, dude, if you have like a lagging upper back or lagging lats or whatever the case may be, have a dedicated back day. That's what me and Sam are doing right now. We have a dedicated back day because although he's extremely jacked and enormous, relatively speaking, that pulling musculature is a weak link for him. So we have a dedicated back day on top of his upper lower event day, so on. If you have like lagging arms, like I don't typically train bicep curls. I have days where I do extra arm work. You could have days where, okay, this is just an accessory day. I'm gonna do upright rows, calves, abs, whatever. Having that separate day, which focuses in on a weak point, is a very smart idea. You can take that wisdom away from bro splits. Another thing that I've learned recently, and if you've watched any content where I talked about weighted dips, I'm like, yeah, they're a good exercise, but for me personally, I don't like them because I can't really feel them in my chest. I learned that pre-exhausting muscles is very, very valid for making certain exercises work better and to just transform them completely. I did something very simple. I did an AMRAP set on bench press, and then directly after that transitioned right into doing my weighted dips. My chest is still fucked up from doing that like 2 or 3 days ago or whatever. My chest doesn't really get sore in general, and I do tons of volume on bench presses and things like that, but it's sore now. And it's not just because I haven't done dips in a while, because as I said, I do dips and I don't feel anything, you know what I mean? Pre-exhaustion is something that gets shit on a lot as like some sort of bro science. It's stupid. You can't get as good performance if you pre-exhaust. It doesn't do anything. My EMG study said blah, blah, blah. Look, sometimes you gotta ditch the book smarts and listen to your body. Research and academia isn't useless, of course, but the limitations with a lot of the studies that people cite as being gospel are very limited, and just the deep dive that we're able to take in exercise science in a clinical aspect is very limited. So not to say that they have zero value, but you have to be able to interpret these studies and see if they actually apply to you or not. All that bullshit pertaining to pre-exhaustion clearly didn't pertain to me. Great hypertrophy stimulus. Now, something else that really worked well is the 8 or 9 day split. Time is a man-made construct. A week being 7 days is just because we said it has to be that way, so the calendar works. You don't have to structure your training within 7 days. You can structure it within 9 days or 8 or 10. More rest days means more quality work during each of these sessions. It means more recovery, so you get a better hypertrophy from that since you're resting more. And overall, dude, it just frees up your schedule to be able to do stuff other than go to the gym. Very, very effective. Ever since I've started doing that, for example, my lower body sessions are far more effective. My upper body sessions are far more effective, and I'm getting more jacked for it. The last thing, second to last thing, Mike Mentzer. People like to meme on heavy duty training and high intensity training, and say, Mike Mentzer is full of shit because he came up with high intensity training after he'd always done volume training and he was in the gym longer than Arnold and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, true indeed. All those things are true. But there's something that he would purport when talking about high intensity training that is very true. Rest is important, and also intensity. You don't have to take it to the extent where you're just doing one hard set, but having a gauge and a true barometer for what a really hard set is and what a 2 failure set is and beyond failure set is, allows you to auto-regulate and do less than that accurately. In other words, use RPE. Also, it puts a premium on rest. You destroy yourself in the gym, right? But you take just as much, if not longer, to recover from that so that you can repeat that performance and do a little bit better. I'm not a fan of push-pull legs or, these train every day systems, because I find that what you obtain in these extra days in the gym, you lose in terms of time spent recovering, like complete rest, not lifting weights. Yes, if you follow push-pull legs, you're not literally working every muscle group every if you work 6 days in a week, you're not working every muscle each of those 6 days. But where you are subjecting yourself to barbell training, doesn't matter if you're not working your chest, you're working your legs, your chest recovery is being taken away from the leg work that you're doing. Hey, if you like push-pull legs, that's up to you, but that's just the facts of the matter. One last thing I want to leave y'all with. 2 days. 2 days are seen as something ultra broy football practice. You have your field work, and then coach might have you hit the weights. Seen as super broy. It shouldn't apply to weight training if you have a goal of just getting stronger in the weight room. But intuitive 2 days, where you separate your main work and your accessory work into 2 separate, AM or PM sessions, is something that I'm experimenting with now myself. And, just from trying it out a few times, it's been very effective for me. Now, that's not to say, guys, don't be a sloth, right? So don't just use having the option of doing a 2-a-day as an excuse to say, oh, well, I'm a little bit tired, or this is a little bit hard, I'm just gonna leave and come back later, and then don't go back to the gym. Or, create this mental pathway. I don't know what the scientific term for that is. There is one, though. Don't create this habit of being a pussy, essentially. But if you're deep into a training block, and it's very important that you perform on your main exercises, so like, for example, squats and deadlifts in the same session can be very fatiguing, especially if you're doing both extremely heavy to a large exertion, to a high exertion. You might not have the mental acuity or, quite honestly, the energy to do your accessory work after. That's where the intuitive AM PM session comes into play. You do your squats and your deadlifts, eat, go home, a few hours later, go back to the gym, do your accessories. Even better if you have a home gym, right? So you could go on about your day, run some errands, come back later. Now again, don't be a sloth. Don't break up each of your sessions into AM PM sessions, because I'm gonna be honest with you, that's a time commitment. That's, you gotta get in the shower a bunch of times every day. Hopefully you're showering at least twice a day already, but imagine going from 2 showers like 4 or 5, because you're breaking everything up into 2 sessions a day. Don't do it just because you can. Do it, have that in your back pocket, and intelligently implement it to your program. It's just 4 things. 4 things that are bro sciencey, 4 things that on paper are wrong. 4 things that you have to have the practical experience to be able to implement and know that, hey, there are scenarios where this shit works. Let me know what y'all think. Have a good one.